It's the Curiously Insane Podcast. Time of tea with the facts.
What it do, what it be? It's your boy Tyler here with the Curiously Insane Podcast, where we find out what fires people up, and in doing so, we fire you up to find your Everest and climb it. Because, baby, it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Let's go, bro. So today, well, I already got the man on the screen, Chad Zahm. I was going to do like an introduction, but yep, I missed that because I was doing 15 million things at once. But at any rate, today on the Curiously Insane Podcast, I could try and make you go away, but I feel like now that everybody's seen you, they're going to want to keep you on the screen, man. Nobody's tuning out now. So let me run this banner quick. All right. So what we got today is my boy Chad Zahm with Unwind Cigars. And we're going to sit down here and find out what fires him up, you know, what he's passionate about, and why he started this brand. Chad, you want to introduce yourself and say a little bit like how you got started with Unwind Cigars?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, thank you, Tyler, for having me on. I'm just blessed to be, able to chat and spread the news about us and, what we got going on and, what the future may hold. But, Unwind Cigars was, there's a reason I'm sitting in my garage, and I think you look at, where you're at in your life, where you're thinking, where you spend time, just clearing your mind. And the garage has been that for me for so many years. And, I've always had interest in cigars, and, it honestly became something where I was looking at, this isn't my only career. I have another career right now. And this was something that was supposed to happen in the future for me. It was going to be my second career when the first career ended. And, it was my wife and I's kind of idea to kind of, roll off in the sunset, sell cigars by the beach. And, that was how it started. So I was looking at a way, I don't typically like to walk in and not know anything about an industry or what I'm getting myself into. So I figured the best way to learn about that is to, look at doing something online. And that's just kind of how the whole thing started. It wasn't the current plan that we have right now. It wasn't the original goal, but, in life, things throws you, some curveballs, and that's where we're at. So I feel like I could talk forever about it. So, but it was something that was a passion of mine for a long time, and, to have it come true and now be in it, and we're starting to get pretty successful. So, I'm stoked about it.
Dude. Well, one, so yeah, I'm glad to have you on the show. Two, dude, I feel you on the garage. I've been smoking stuff in garages since I was probably 15 or 16 or something crazy. My parents will attest to that. But so dude, I love though how, right, you had this idea and it was percolating. It was supposed to be down the road. But you just went and did it. Like whatever, life circumstances prompted, like, hey, now would be a good time. And isn't it dope how, you, from what I've seen, I mean, you grew this from nothing. What I've noticed was an Unwind Cigars Facebook page. All right. And I've seen consistent posts. I've seen good photography, right? I think you're probably using an iPhone or something like that, but
sure.
I've seen good branding and logos. And so you've just taught yourself all of those skills.
Yeah. So it wasn't easy. I mean, the process was pretty involved. And the tobacco industry is pretty heavily regulated as far as advertising is concerned, and, those types of things. And the cigar industry itself is trying to separate itself from the general tobacco industry, the cigarettes, the loose leaf tobaccos and things like that. And there's newer research coming out just this past year about, the differences between cigars and cigarettes and, overall health. There's still, the risk is still there, obviously. But honestly, Tyler, like, so we were sitting down in Florida, and with my family, we're on vacation in June. Yeah, in June. We already had the name picked out. We're already like kind of rocking with that. I was talking to some people at GoDaddy about building my site or building our site. And they told me that they can't build the site for me because it's a tobacco company. And what I found out, at every step of the way through all different, and I have no experience building websites.
Yeah.
So I was going to use their designers to do that for me. And it was going to be plug and play for us. And I thought it was a fantastic idea. I'm like, we got this, we can do this. It's going to be simple. Right. And we were maybe a month or two from our expected opening. And I called them and they told me this. And I'm like, well, how do I do this? They said, well, you can build the site yourself on our platform. We just can't say that we did it for you because of legal reasons. And I was like, oh, great. So now I guess I'm learning how to design a website. And, it's when you think of something, when you have an idea and you want to take your idea or your hobby into making a business, you always think like, not that you always think, but you think it's going to be smooth sailing. I'm going to hit a couple bumps in the road here and there, but I feel like we hit almost every single roadblock in the first 4 or 5 months that is set up to, we learned a lot. Those roadblocks were there before for other companies. We just weren't aware of them. And we learned some hard lessons early on and we realized that even with those hard lessons and the work put into it, like we still wanted to do it,
Yeah.
And the one thing, we didn't want this brand or this company to do for us. We didn't want it to take away this from us and what this means for us and, the time with friends and all that. We didn't want the business aspect of things to ruin, our time with each other and smoking cigars and enjoying them.
Grandmaster of Alpha Giga Chad Smith. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do not. I'm squinting because it's.
That's got to all be good though. It's all good news.
It sounds good.
We get an engagement, so that's good. That drives up the views and the likes and all that good stuff. So, Grandmaster UV, good looking out. Good looking out. Alpha Giga Chad Smiths with mad exclamation points. We will embrace that all day.
Yeah.
But so these roadblocks came up, but you didn't compromise your values, right? Because the whole reason you guys wanted to build this brand was, I think, as you had just mentioned, was like to sit down and share time or share experiences and memories with family and unwind, relax.
Yeah. And that was, even to this day, I think, our messaging is, we sell cigars, so we do post about our cigars and things, and we do some reviews. And I just did a top 5 review for last year. But I feel like, most of our brand is about, we wanted to be the brand it's like a bespoke kind of feel. Like you wanted to just sit with your friends, you want to hang out, and that's what our life is about. We work hard most of the week and near the end of the week, we're tired. We have kids, they're in a lot of things and, we wanted just that time to just kind of unwind. And, that's why I think the brand fits the name, fits the everything. And, we're hoping that we can continue as we grow to keep that as our core value. And just as hard as the hurdles we are at the very beginning, there was an opportunity, to take our brand to the next level. And we weren't quite ready for that. And, the reason being was we felt like we'd potentially this early on lose focus of our vision and our brand. And, you know, it would become more of a shared vision than it would be just my wife and I's vision. And, you know, so it took a lot to, you know, it takes a lot to let some opportunities kind of pass, you know, because we want to build this brand organically. And, you know, that was, you know, it's great to be offered something like that, but, you know, in the end, it doesn't fit us right now. And we want to stick to our core, you know, that's it. So.
Dude, I love it. And I feel like most great stories I've heard of like successful people, right, who followed their dreams and achieved them, of building a brand, building a business, becoming an entertainer, a filmmaker, actor, whatever their passion is. Like they were offered some low-hanging fruit early on, right? And they could have been like, man, I'm finally getting, like, it's cool that I could potentially get some sort of compensation, you know, for, man, this dream I've had forever. But in doing so, man, I got to share my vision, right? And and it's cool, dude. So I think every great story has that. So I'm glad that you got it. I know Chris Rupert and myself, we had a similar story just with an investor wanting to purchase or invest in Dockside Media, our production company. And man, it was like, what? Like, first off, it was insane. We were completely honored and thrilled. But man, as we just sat down and looked at everything and thought it through, it was like, man, we're going to kick ourselves down the road because now we have to take 20% input from somebody else, right? Even though, and it just, it's just a different ball of wax then. And bro, as sure as I'm sitting here today, I don't know if our denial of that request, I don't know if it pulled through yet, but guess who got an email back from 1091 Pictures about acquiring Conscious Contact Full Disclosure, dog? This dude. Today.
There you go.
Today. They said, we'll have an answer by the end of the week. You know, they're interested in discussing it further. And I'm just like, let's go, baby. Yeah. That is, it's just great to be in this position. I'm actually getting ready to fly out on Thursday morning at like 5 a.m. to interview another guy for another documentary that we're making. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
So thanks, dog. Thank you. So we'll see. I'm going to keep just swinging for the fences, man. And I don't know, bro. I don't mind striking out, dude. As long as I try and give it my best effort, I really don't care if I strike out.
Right.
And so like with your Unwind Cigars, right, it's like real easy early on when you hit some of those hurdles, like, oh gosh, man, I was down to do this until I learned I have to build my own website, or I was down to do this until I had to go through this bureaucracy or whatever it is. And it's like, man, I love the perseverance of putting your head down and just going through it, man. And you're a much more rounded individual person being because of it. Like, dog, I don't know what experience you have in marketing or anything like that. Or your wife, who's helping you, but when you guys are doing your posts, dude, I dig it. It's good marketing. It's good ad copy. It's like, I just like to see people, man, dude, they are learning how to build a brand, bro.
But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that coming from you. I mean, like for me, looking at you saying that, like it means a lot, because it was, I mean, I wasn't a Facebook person. I wasn't an Instagram person. Like, I saw my friends and stuff like that. And, here I went from, barely using those media, outlets to all of a sudden, like, that's my primary source of, getting our word out. And it's not, it's that goes back to that, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not learning, right? And I got a pretty comfortable in my first profession, and and that's maybe why I started kind of tinkering with some things outside of that. And I've been blessed with that profession even to do this. And a lot of the credit for getting through the hurdles and stuff, albeit to God, but my wife, I mean, she has just been like the rock through that. Because I mean, there was days that I was done, and for the website was the hardest. And for those of you who are not used to coding or any of that kind of stuff, like it took me like, it takes a coder like 2 seconds to figure out how to move a cost from here to this spot on the screen, and that took me like 3 or 4 hours to figure out like one little bit. So, it took, hours and hours and hours, probably close to 60 or 100 hours for me to build the site. And, my wife going into this, I was like, yeah, this is just gonna be a side thing, like we could just do this at our free time,
Right.
And here I am spending all that time, and without her support through that, and she likes cigars too, and she would love to come out and say hi at some point, but there's a PTO meeting or something tonight for the kids. But it's wild, and I found myself specifically with cigars, to talk about that just a little bit. Like, when I first was enjoying cigars, I had certain cigars that I loved, and I didn't know why I loved them. I just know I loved sitting around, and this is a cigar, and it was something either someone gave to me to start, or you get to go to a local store, get a mixed pack, and just start trying stuff. But now, like, learning the history, learning the heritage, the culture, how that's changed over hundreds of years, that to me is very romantic. The fact that, in this cigar, they say on average 200 hands have touched this cigar before you actually have it in your hands. Wow. From the farmers growing the seed to picking the seed, to putting them in the barns to cure and the ferment, and then the rollers, and then there's wholesalers and the retailers and all that stuff. Like, to me, I feel fortunate to be able to touch something and smoke something that so many people had a part of. That to me now drives my passion for this. And I've learned so many things just in a short period of time, meeting some people, albeit through online marketing and social media and stuff. Yeah. We've done a couple local events at some breweries. And it's been fantastic. I don't know if I've told you, but I'm really excited about cigars.
Dude, that's sick, man. And like, I just, I say it every episode, but I just feel so fortunate that we live in a time where, like, bro, if your interest and passion are cigars, like, you can learn all that history you want. It's all out there, right? Like, where was it? And you can learn about how to code, and you can learn about how to build a brand and how to take pictures. And and it's like, oh man, if like 30, 40 years ago, like, you're at a library every day if you want to learn that, right? Yeah. And even then you're using probably outdated information. Like, now it's like, bro, you have access to the most up-to-date information. You can, the GoDaddy website, it's not free, but like the Facebook page, business page, absolutely free. Yeah. Like, you can start, like, anybody can really start and build a brand and get followers for nothing, for whatever they like. Yeah. And the cool thing is, with nearly 8 billion people in the world, dude, while I'm not like a huge cigar aficionado, like, dude, there is hundreds of millions of people who are just like you, right? And so it's like, wow, that's so cool that you have a common interest with others, that you can bond over that. You can learn about your passion and hobby, grow it into a business, and throughout all this, Like you just become a more well-rounded individual, man. Like if you don't tell people in the beginning of the broadcast that you started this in June, you know, if they hop on your Facebook page and they see the cover photo and your logo, nobody would know. They would assume, oh man,
Yeah.
these guys have been doing this, you know, for years. So, you know, like you've become all these things because you've done all these things, bro, and you can keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's scary. I mean, there's no question about that. And I look at, you know, this year for us, and you know, I've got some ideas about where the brand's going to go, and we've communicated that between Christy and I, and put together some, you know, thoughts for that. You know, but the very first event that I did, like in public, you know, was at a local brew pub, and you know, we were driving there, and at that point we were open. The website was live for maybe 3 weeks.
Okay.
And our payment processor just shut us down like 4 days before the event. So we were, you know, it went from like a total high to like a total low. Like, how are we going to do this? You know,
right.
How are we going to accept payment at the event? Like it's, you know, all these things. And on top of that, like, you know, at the time I felt like I know a little bit about cigars, but not a lot. So it's like, you know, being in person, you know, and I've been around people who smoke cigars and they're usually really chill. You know, you have probably 95% of people who are really chill, and you got the 2 or 3% that will ask you every single little detail about the cigar and this and that, the filters and all that. And, you know, I was freaking out. And, you know, for that 1 or 2%, you know, and it wasn't worth it. You know, in my head, it was happening, but it wasn't worth it.
Right.
You know? And, you know, it's hard in those new moments in any venture to, you know, get past your mind, you know, and that's like the biggest hurdle is always yourself with it, you know, and you just, you know, for me, my faith carries me a long way. And that was a lot to help through, you know, those moments. And what we found out in those first 2 events we did was half the people have never smoked a cigar in their life. So there, you know, there was a teaching moment for us and an introduction to a new industry and something that may, you know, affect their lives, you know, hopefully in a positive way. For the future.
Man, I love that you put yourself in those uncomfortable moments, man. Because like I feel like that's where the most growth comes. Because there's been times in my life where I spent way too much energy worrying about what somebody else thought, and it didn't matter. Like at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Or wondering about, oh, what's going to happen right at this event or at this shoot or whatever it is. And it's like, dude, like I'm not going to die. Like whatever it is, I'll still be alive. All right. So I don't need to worry about me being dead. So I feel like it's all upside from there. Right. If somebody, if somebody, whatever, just doesn't vibe with me or care for me, it's like, dude, that world's a big place. It's like, no big deal. I don't need to really worry about that at all. Like, I'm still fine. Yep, I'm alive. Their opinion doesn't affect. Like the only, like if I internalize it and think about it, then it starts affecting my personality, right? And then I'm not like being myself and I'm not having fun. If I don't give a crap what others think, dude, I just get happier and zanier and whatever. I just keep going, dog. Hold on. What do we got here? Ian Hawks says hi. Familiar with Ian? Shout out to Ian. Well, Ian, if you like cigars, head on over to www.unwind-cigars.com. And you can pick up. Well, let's go there, Chad. So maybe there's some anxiety in this. Like when you went to decide what stock to put on your website, right? Were you like, oh gosh, if I don't have this, somebody's going to think, oh, they're not a cigar distributor, or, you know, like how do you go about choosing your stock and selection?
So initially, we had there's a local wholesaler that I've become friends with over the years, and that, I just started learning some things early on from him. Actually, during COVID was when we met. When COVID shutdowns first happened, I ordered some cigars from him and they got lost. And, so I called him up, and him and I just started chatting, and he's a great guy, and he's been helpful, through the selection process. Initially, I had my list of cigars, and, we were going to do the mix packs, the 4-packs, the 10-packs. And we wanted about 10 or 12 cigars to start that. And I gave him that list, and, he's like, are these cigars you smoke, or these cigars, like, why these cigars? I was like, these are my cigars I love, He's like, well, Chad, like, I get it, but these are very specific cigars. And, people in the cigar world know these cigars, but you're going to be competing against these bigger online companies, so these might not be the best cigars for you to start with, and, so we talked back and forth, and we came up with a good starting list of, I think it was 12 cigars. And, and I smoked every one of them, to make sure that, they would fit my, that they were okay. I mean, I'm not going to, every cigar we smoke, I won't sell a cigar that I won't smoke. There are cigars that I don't necessarily don't prefer, but, in that initial list, those were fantastic cigars, and some of them we still have on, because they were really good selling cigars, and people enjoyed those. And, our idea, or our comfort level was, let's get about 15 cigars or so. And let's, when something sells out, we'll rotate to something else. And, now that we're, more familiar with, what is selling in the cigar world, rather than what I'm smoking here in my garage,
right,
it becomes more legitimate of a business, but there definitely is research, we'll say research that goes into making sure that the cigars are, good quality cigars. And, we want to stay in the premium cigar world, but we also want them to be affordable too. We want them to be affordable too, so most of our cigars, I feel, you'll find between $7 and $10 or $11. We have some rare ones on there, some more expensive ones, but there's the aficionados that, want something that, because I feel like they should be there. If someone finds us and like, hey, this guy's got this rare cigar, let's, but it's been fun kind of going through all that process, and, taking the photos of each cigars and reading about the cigars, and then coming up with our play on the description of the cigar. It was fun. Actually, I remember the time we got the final list again too. We were down in Florida, and it was one of the hurricanes, or one of the tropical depressions was coming through. So we were totally bummed because we had to spend the day inside. And so we sat in the garage, at this condo that we rented. And, Christy and I sat out there. We smoked some cigars. We drank a little bit of bourbon. And, that was when that first list really solidified for us. And that was a cool moment. That's a moment, one of the first moments I'll always remember, down the road.
Of how this all started. Absolutely, man. And it just, I love it. I just love the openness and the transparency of all this. I don't know. Hopefully people watching, it encourages them. Man, a lot of those people that are out there, writing the descriptions of those cigars and coming up with the concepts for those commercials, or writing the screenplays for those movies. Dude, they're really nobody special. There's some special people out there, no doubt, but it's doable. Think about it. If you read a lot of cigar descriptions, how can you not think of, I smoke this cigar, if it's something you really love, like smoking a cigar, and think of, okay, how would I describe this? And like, that's just an awesome experience. Like you said, process. I think it helps demystify. It's like, yeah, your description is 1,000% accurate. Like, that's how you described it. Like, everybody has different opinions, but like,
right.
You know, when you write the description, it's like, dude, that's the description of this cigar based on your opinion and experiences with it. So, man, it's just cool. I love that you learned and taught yourself, all of that.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, I like learning new things, you know, and it's been a blast. And I would consider myself very knowledgeable now at this point with cigars. With, you know, I don't know if I could say website design. You know, if we have to go to the next level, I might need to hire that one out. But yeah, it's been. And we have some events that we're going to, you know, start doing, you know, more local events and stuff in the springtime and the summertime. You know, it's and it's enjoyable. Like, I like one of the biggest things in my life that I've been uncomfortable with is talking in front of people. And, you know, it's this is leading up to this. I'm okay now, you know, like, you know, I've done some videos and stuff like that, you know, and it's leading up to this. I was talking to Christy. I'm like, man, I'm kind of like, my heart's racing a little bit. Like, you know, what do I do? What do I say? What do I, you know, the boogers in my, like, to me, it's like, that was so uncomfortable. And, you know, I fix teeth for a living. So those interactions are they're very one-on-one, you know. It's not to crowds of people. It's not to 15, 20 people at events listening to me. Like, that's, you know, it was tough. And, you know, now, so to me, like, my goal is to get more comfortable with that, you know, and communicating and articulating without, you know, I'm going to fumble here and there, and that's just kind of part of life. But, you know, I want to be, you know, confident in what I'm trying to get across. And, you know, that comes with time. That doesn't come with, you know, all of a sudden you got it. Especially in a new industry and new settings and stuff like that. And, you know, fortunately, I don't have anybody looking over me, and unfortunately I don't have anybody looking over me. So, you know, you kind of just, like you said earlier, like, you just kind of dive in, and you're going to swing and miss sometimes. And, you know, it's, if it's truly in your heart to do something, you're just going to have to suck it up, honestly.
You'll rise to the occasion.
Right. And rise to the occasion and push through. And, you know, that success train might take a little longer for others, and it might be shorter for some, but, you know, without the time, without the effort, you're not going anywhere.
You're not, dude. I love the man. I love hearing the stuff, like when you just say about, hey, you know, I get uncomfortable public speaking, right, in front of crowds. So certainly putting yourself in some of those like events that you know, where you're going to, and there's multiple people around, lots of people coming up to your table, perhaps being on this type of thing. I've seen you do your videos for Unwind Cigars, and bro, I love it because, dude, you're exactly right. The only way you get better at carrying yourself and conducting yourself on camera is by doing it. The only way you get better by, like, speaking in front of large crowds articulately and not saying a bunch of and learning to use those dramatic pauses and all the things that come with public speaking that really draws people in and endears them to you. Like, the only way to do it is by getting out there and talking. Like, you can't, or I can't, practice in front of a mirror or in my head. Like, for this Curiously Insane podcast, like, I had the idea and I just had to do it. I'm like, I don't know anything about live broadcasting. But yeah, I got to tie cinder blocks to my feet and throw myself in the river. And I know, dude, like, yeah, I just got a bunch of heart and I'm not giving up. So I just got to, put myself in the situation. And that's how I learn best, man. And dude, kudos. You're doing great.
Mhm.
You've been great on camera here, dude, and great in your videos. And man, I would encourage you to just continue going with the public speaking and with appearing,
Mhm.
because dude, it's tough to like be vulnerable, right? Like you are putting yourself out there for the
Oh my
world to
gosh.
judge.
Oh
And
yeah.
so it's like, it's unnerving. Like I've never had any type of training, right, to be on camera, and so you haven't, and it's just like, oh, you I don't know, you slowly figure out how to be yourself and how to be genuine on camera. And then that's when it's fun, man. That's when it's
Yeah.
I love doing these broadcasts. It's a good time, man. I just have fun doing it.
Yeah. It's been fun. I mean, I think I probably said that before, but I mean, it's like one of those things where, it's easy to kind of look at people on these social media platforms and, see the stuff they're doing and criticize the stuff they're doing.
Right.
But I would encourage you to be the first person to just take a step back and say, hey, it's a lot of hard work. I mean, some of those, I'm sure you're familiar with that from the production standpoint. For a 5-minute clip, it doesn't take 5 minutes to,
Right.
to make that 5-minute clip,
Nah.
and it's just, when I first started recording myself in those videos, there, I think one or two of them, there's some and I'm like, man, it stinks, but I'm like, you know what? Who cares? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm not someone who, I will take criticism, I think, pretty well, unless it's about like missing a spot on the dishes in the house, like washing the dishes. Then for some reason, I'm not very good at that criticism. But
Oh yeah, no, that would chap my butt too.
yeah, but it's
Hopefully she's watching.
I want to learn from the criticism too. So. I think the one video, I was perfect the whole way through, and I reached up and I picked my nose at the end of it. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I'm like, cut that one. Can't do that, So,
Yeah.
but everyone who's been in those forums and has done that, and I never thought that starting a cigar business would put me on those media platforms like that, and it's and that industry and every other industry, just the cool people that you can meet. I think when you start interacting and building those relationships from very similar people, who have a very similar mindset, a very similar, maybe vision in their life for their business, or like how their lifestyle,
Yeah.
One of the hardest things we've experienced on the social media platform is, with the cigars, is being, other than like you can't add or promote you can't promote your posts because Instagram and Facebook are very anti-tobacco stuff. Same with alcohol companies.
Right.
But like, we didn't want to sell sex, and we didn't want to sell Billy Badass, that's selling this or smoking this cigar. We
Right.
didn't want that. And that's very big in the tobacco industry. And that's just something we want to stay away from.
Yeah.
And we look at our social media platforms and stuff like that. We don't advertise any of that stuff. We don't promote any of those types of, we're not posting stuff that's, we think shouldn't be posted, that are
Yeah.
outside of, like, we don't want our 7-year-old kids to see, that's just kind of our mindset. And it's another side bit about the social media platform. We've had some people approach us to do some things, and people who want us to promote differently on different platforms, on Instagram and all that stuff. And it's just that I was totally unaware of, how aggressive they are with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Well, luckily, yeah, man, I love that you guys have been able to be true to yourself. It's like, bro, this is my brand, dude. If I want it to be family friendly and wholesome, guess what? Dog, the world is full of a ton of great people, man. And I like that. That's what, like what you said
Yeah.
just a little bit before that about all the cool people that you've met in this
Mhm.
industry, and like that's just such a fun experience when as you build a brand. Or your own company or whatever, follow your passion. It's just meeting others, right? And realizing, like, oh, dude, the world is filled with really nice, cool people. There's a handful of meanies, bullies, but like, dude, for the most part, there's a lot of people, man, who like to engage with others and talk to them about their passions. And so, like, yeah, if you find something like cigars or filmmaking or soccer or football or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like, oh man, dude, yeah, we're in a good position where we can easily connect with groups of like-minded individuals,
Yeah.
And to kind of go off what you had mentioned earlier is like, yeah, I like to remain teachable too, man. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't ever want to, yeah, I don't want to ever feel like, oh, dude, like I got this, right? Or I know, oh, I
Right.
know all this. Like when I don't know, if I have like people who haven't been on film sets before, like if they happen to be there the day we're shooting, like, I don't know. I just love filmmaking so much, dude. I kind of like half explain it from scratch as we're going through everything. Hey, this is why we're using the shutter speed, man. I got to use this variable ND filter, so we don't overexpose the image. And just
Right.
like I enjoy that because, like, I don't know, most of the stuff I just learned on my own. And so I always wanted like people to feel free to like ask questions. And then too, like when I'm definitely trying to get better. I know back in elementary school, I had a heck of a time of like asking questions if I didn't understand something, right? But as I've grown, I've tried to just swallow that pride or whatever that insecurity. It's like, bro, if I don't know, ask a question. Like that's how I learn. Like that's what I'm trying to teach my
Yeah.
7-year-old son. Like, dog, if you don't know, just ask, bro. Like, yeah, that's how
Yeah.
we learn. And now he asks Alexa all over the place, and she's telling him all this stuff. Like, it's yeah. I try and remain teachable, and man,
Yeah.
just keep learning stuff, man.
Well,
It's like growing. It's a little thing here, a little thing there, and it keeps
yeah.
making you better.
Yeah. And I mean, the information that's available now through people, through, the online, like, it's incredible. I mean, you can learn if you have a passion about something, go learn it. Just, it's, man, I mean, it's, when we were kids, like you said, you had I mean, the resources were books, were people who were in the industry, and it was hard to connect with them, so even better a time, what better time than now to learn new things. And so many people have reevaluated their life, over the past few years with what's going on in the world. And, if you have that, like, I'm almost there, I almost want to do it, just take the first step, you know, ask somebody, get on some forum, start talking about it. There's plenty of availability out there for people to just give you their input. And if it's just information, you're not going to get criticized. You're not going to get, pushed aside, because people love, I think, more than people love to educate themselves, I think people love to educate too. There
Yeah.
is a bad side of that, but I think, if you find the right people, what a blessing to have someone that can teach you something, and that you would have never met before.
Yeah.
You're changing your life, you're changing that person's life just by those interactions.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Collaboration over competition.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Are
That
we
is
branded? Is that branded? Did you trademark that right now for
No,
Unwind
I don't think that's
Cigars?
trademarked. I don't know, what book it was that I read that in, but I used to read a lot of leadership books and stuff, and I'm
Good.
sure that kind of came out. But yeah, I feel like that's just if in business, if you have that mindset, that's the way I run my other, that's the way I run my practice. That's the way we run Unwind here. Like that's you're only in competition with yourself. I feel everyone else can just take you to the next level. So
I love it. I love it. Although I will say, not to like go against that, but like I do like a little competition. Like I
yeah,
do.
I mean,
Like I do like yeah. If I'm just whatever, my son's 7 now, so when we're playing games, like bro, I'm playing to win.
yeah,
Like you're smart. Like yeah, you're a sharp kid. So I don't want to. Oh, Dad, you
yeah,
gave me a draw forward. Like yeah, you're right, bro, because I'm trying to win this game.
yeah,
And like it's I love being at that point in my life with my son because before it's for me, it was a delicate balancing act, man. Through sports like basketball, soccer, football, baseball, video games, board games, card games, all that stuff. Where like you got to let them win. Like what was this study? There was a study I had read. What was it? Something like they watch these rats or they let these rats wrestle. A large rat and then a tiny rat. And the large rat had to let the small rat win 30% of the time, or the small rat would never come back and play with the large rat. Right? So the large rat would let the small rat, most of these rats, 30% of the time, they would let the small rat win so that it would continue to play with them. And so like, that's how, with my son, right? So for, a time period there, you got to let them win, son, because if I just stomp him in like a game, man, after 10 stompings, I wouldn't want to play either. Right.
Right.
But now that he's older and how I try and look at life, it's like, oh man, like you said, you were nervous before coming on the broadcast here, this podcast. And I'm like, oh man, I try and look at events like that in my life as like, all right, baby, let's see what we're made of. Let's see what we're made of. Like, I try and get like just pumped up, like, dude, I'm going to try my best and let the chips fall where they may, dude. I don't have any shame in trying and striking out. And dude, I love all the effort, the passion. Where do you see like Unwind Cigars, a year from now, 5 years from now? I mean, you're going to keep doing these shows. You're going to keep building the brand and social media.
Yeah, I mean, I try to think a year at a time, and I think that's pretty all I pretty much have time on my plate for at this point. But this was when I first started, or when we first started, there was a 10-year plan, and the 10-year plan was going to be a transition for me from one profession to another, and that was the initial goal, and that's still kind of the goal. It may be a little beyond that, once the kids are out of like high school and college and stuff like that, more realistic time frame. But honestly, when we first started talking about Unwind Cigars, like my setting point or my starting point was going to be a subscription service. And so it was going to be, you pay $40 a month. We'll send you 4 or 5 sticks every month. They're going to be different. That was the starting point. And knowing how hard it was going to be to compete and just start that without having any brand awareness, nothing out there, it was going to be hard for me to bring that inventory in and, potentially have it sitting, and it's not that we couldn't keep them and ship them in future dates, but, I feel like a year from now, I feel like, that's going to be a direction that we're definitely going to be taking. I know there's some people that have expressed interest in us doing that. To me, in the cigar world, there's 2 types of of buyers, you know, from the online standpoint. There's ones that will hunt down the cigar that they want on any site they can find it.
Okay.
I guess three different. There's those individuals, and there's the individuals that like to pick a couple sticks here and there, and that's kind of where we're falling now. And there's others that they smoke so many cigars, are like, just send me stuff. I want something that you picked. Just send it to me. And that model does exist out there. You know, honestly, it's just from an investment standpoint, it was tough to kind of start up that. And, you know, I didn't have tens of twenties of thousands of dollars to kind of get that rolling at the time. And, you know, that's not something that we, you know, at the time was feasible.
Right.
So I see that. I see us hoping to nail down like the local brewery scene. I like doing the events. You know, that seems to be a good time, you know, for us, as well as, you know, the patrons that are at the breweries and things. We got to get some swag, you know, we got to get some hats and t-shirts and stuff. You know, I feel like this is here to stay. So I feel like now that stuff is going to be, you know, in this calendar year. Hopefully within the next couple of months, we have some stuff. We're starting to sell some, you know, we've gotten quite a few questions about hats and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, lining that stuff up, designing that stuff is on our plate. So, you know, a year from now, I hope to be back on your podcast when you make it big time, and not having so many ums and ahs, and, you know, maybe some makeup. I don't know.
Nah, dude. Nah, the face looks great, bro. I haven't really noticed any ums. You've been doing fabulous on the talk, dude. Nothing caught my eye. Dude, in a year, yeah. I think you'll exceed your expectations, bro. I think if you keep putting your heart into it and you're having fun doing it, like, man, people see that, dude. And that's what's cool. Like, I like that you're into, like you mentioned, the events and stuff, and going to the craft breweries or whatever. And it's like, dude, that helps you build a brand. Like, right? Like, you interact with those individuals. If you've got the swag, they're seeing your logo. Maybe some of those people buy it, right? And now they're doing free advertising for you as they walk around with it looking fly. People are like, yo, that's sick, man. What's that new brand? Like, oh, well, yo, this is sick. Cigar company, man, distributor. And so it's cool to, like, you can be yourself and not compromise your values and go to those events, man. And like the way you interact with those people and the time you take out of your day, it goes a long way, man. You build followers, friends, customers, clients for life, man, because they know, like, oh, dude, that Chad, he's a good bird.
Yeah, and I think the one thing you won't see from us is like a retail shop, you know, like a brick and mortar. I think that's just not, you know, not really in our short-term cards there. But I love it. Like, when I look at, you know, when you have conversations with people in your life, and, you know, there's going to be some doubters, and there's going to be some people that, you know, say, hey, maybe you shouldn't, like, you know, what are you doing? You know, and, you know, now a lot of those people are looking at what we're doing, and we're not a huge company. We're definitely still growing, but, you know, we're selling cigars every week. And, you know, it's become fun when that order comes in. We get that notification. It's like, whoa, yeah, you know, like, and we're, you know, it's one of those moments, you know. I hope I never lose that feeling when we get an order, you know. And the one thing I enjoy now more than smoking cigars is giving cigars away and selling them to, getting them to people who are going to enjoy them. You know, to me, the biggest moment of last year was the fact that stuff that we created, this brand was going to be under Christmas trees. That was such a cool feeling. And I got goosebumps. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, someone's going to open this Christmas morning. Like,
right.
That is what I wanted. And that was, for me, I'm like, yes, like this is the feeling that I wanted to have when we started this. We're going about this, that yes, someone is going to enjoy something that we put together, albeit we don't have a private label cigar yet. It's awesome. That feeling was so cool. So cool.
Yeah, man. It's just neat, dude. Like that kind of stuff fires me up too. Like when we made the most recent documentary, Conscious Contact, Full Disclosure, and some of the feedback we got from people, gives me goosebumps, dog. Like it just, to know that you had an effect on somebody's life, even just one person, like you said, that present under the tree, dude. Somebody opened that up and they smiled, dog, and that made their morning, right? And later that day, they were smoking that thing, or whenever they went to smoke it, and they were thinking about whoever got them that beautiful present. They're thinking about Unwind Cigars, who made that happen. And it's like, oh, dude, that's crazy, man. I touched somebody's life, bro. If I wasn't here, who knows? Maybe they get a coffee mug or some, like, some less dope gift. And dude, that's just I love it.
So let me ask you, what's been your biggest challenge with this? Like when you look at and I know not that much about you from what you do, in the production world and all that stuff. And I've seen some of your videos, and I watched the video. I think it was the acting little bit that you did. I thought that was, to me, that was awesome. So through all of what you do and all your different hats that you put on, what's been the most challenging part for you? Like what, is there a moment or like a theme, like a,
man, I don't know. I
don't mean to stump you. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to ask questions, I guess.
No, and not to be like, oh, there hasn't been any challenging parts, but I feel like, man, I don't know. I've shared this story before on the Curiously Insane podcast, but like one day, like 5.5 years ago, just happened to see a movie trailer during a commercial come across the screen. And that day I'm like, that's just a bunch of 1 second, 2 second, 3 second video clips, like all strung together to tell a story. I bet I could do that with like some music and sound effects behind it. So like I grabbed, my son was like 1 at the time, 1.5, grabbed his like toy dinosaur, went outside and filmed a fictitious movie trailer called The Dino Slayer. So if you Google it, it's out there. But I just filmed a bunch of short video clips, trimmed them all down to 1 and 2, 3 seconds on my cell phone, lined them all up on my cell phone, added some background music and explosion sounds, and posted on Facebook. And I was like, oh, like, for no experience, just going out and trying it, dude, 1, this is mad fun. This was so sick that I even just did this. And 2, wow, this actually isn't bad. Like I wasn't in AV club or anything like that. So I don't know. Then it was just a matter of just I had fun doing it and kept doing it. And so mad props. Thanks for the compliments on the acting reel. That whole thing was like, I feel like I liked filmmaking and making videos. And so I just had to get more comfortable on camera. Early on, while I was out hunting, I'm like, oh, dude, I should do like a parody, like a Hunting with Tyler kind of video. It'd be like, like a Bear Grylls kind of thing or whatever, and bring people on. But I'll just be like completely like ludicrous and just say stuff that's like completely not true, like incorrect tips and tricks. But so I just started doing that and happened to develop, it was like a little, it was like a similar version of me. But man, just kept going from there, and then making like short movies and short films and acting in friends' short movies and short films. And like, I love the acting because it's cool. It's like, oh, bro, Yeah, it's just insane. I think if more people tried it, they would be surprised and be like, oh man, you know what, dude, Tom Cruise isn't as special as I thought he was. Like, it takes a certain person to, like, I guess, appear genuine, you know, just be genuine on screen, where like nobody's suspension or belief is, or everybody's belief is still suspended. Like, you know, you're not, there's nothing jarring where it's like, oh wait, that doesn't make sense. Why does their face look like that? But man, yeah, I love the acting part, and I not made sure, but most of the parts I think I took, like in that acting reel, if you watch, it's like, oh dude, that, yeah, like they're all pretty counter of my personality. I guess there's a couple clips from the One Thing, Sorry Not Sorry, that's similar to me, but most I'm like, oh dude, I don't want to go high energy and that kind of stuff. I'd rather be kind of different. So I love the whole challenge of that. And dude, I'm always geeking out, like when the camera's rolling, not always, but sometimes, like after a take, I'm just like, bro, I can't believe like we're adults playing make believe right now. Like, this is just nuts. But when it's done, and when you string all those shots together, people watch it as if that world exists, right? And as if those events really happened. And so it's like, dude, I love the, man, I don't know. I don't know what the most challenging part was. I guess just to keep going, maybe. Because sometimes, like, you know, there's been periods of time where I lose that passion and that drive, where I just don't have great ideas or funny ideas, or I don't feel very inspired. And it's like during those times to keep going forward, those have been the most challenging. But
you'll get the most growth in those times though too, right?
For sure, man. And then you always look back and you're like, God, dude, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, right? Like, man, it was, my head made it out to be way worse than it really was. So I like the getting older part and maturing of just getting those life experiences where I don't do it perfectly, but a lot of those I try to not let that kind of stuff even, like get on my shoulders or into my brain. I'm just like, yo, I'm here to have fun, man, and spread joy and hopefully help inspire others to go do whatever it is they love, because the world is so stinking big, man. Like, you see a lot of different people on social media, and it's like, bro, I'm telling you right now, if they can do it, you can do it, man. Nobody's like terribly special, man.
Yeah. Well, you seem like a grinder to me, and that's I appreciate that a lot. And I haven't known you for that long, you know, in the second part of adult part of our lives, I guess. The
second act, right? Didn't know you real well in the first act, but but other than that, you were a soccer stud. Yeah.
We'll let Noah do that now. That's his deal. So
he's doing a heck of a job with it so far.
Yeah. There's gonna be something there. There's gonna be something there. Like, you know, it's fun to watch. And it's bringing out the kid in me, you know. So I see him get geeked out about that, and it gets me excited about it. And, you know, it gets me excited about everything in my life. Seeing my kid excited about something like that is just, to me, it is really cool to see. Because, you know, as kids, I think most kids have, especially boys, have no fear, you know, and at some point in our lives, we learned fear. I don't know. It's different for everybody. Right. And, you know, and we've learned unhappiness. We've learned happiness. We've learned sadness, all that stuff. And to have, and I'm sure you feel the same way, like to see your child, you know, as an adult, to see your child go through things and see them like unequivocally just going through something, you know, their reactions are not always the greatest when they fail, but that's the teaching moment for you. And, you know, it kind of, it's awesome, you know, to see that, and inspiring, I think.
It is, dude. It is, man. I think for me, parenthood, like becoming a dad, was a big part of, man, helping spark that creativity. Like it just, man, when you have to like entertain a baby and stuff, it just, for me, it reignited just a bunch of creative passions that I may have had when I was younger.
Right.
And yeah, bro, there's nothing better than, dude, seeing your kid go through something, both one, going through something good, right? Scoring that goal, getting that second goal, right? Making that great pass, making that move. But it's also great to see them fail, or not even fail, but have somebody do something not so nice to them or treat them unkindly, and to see them respond kindly, right? Or to see them handle, like, just, I don't know. I just know I've had situations where hunters told me stuff about what somebody said to him. And to just hear that, like, man, dude, he didn't let it affect him. He knows that there's just some people out there who just, I don't know, treat others poorly, man. And you know what? If I walk through those kids' shoes or those people's shoes, man, maybe I would treat people poorly too. Like, I don't know. Like, I try not to judge others, man, because everybody has a different path, a different journey. And we're like the summation of our life experiences. So I try and just be respectful of everybody because, dude, if I grew up where you grew up, went and had the experiences you had, I'd probably be very similar to you.
Right. And sometimes you think, like, if when you're talking about that getting in your head, you know, I what's the word? Equivocate? I don't know if is that even a word? Like when I see a struggle that I have in any profession I have, or a struggle with, you know, a relationship that I have in my life with somebody, and, you know, I see my kid go through something, and I'm like, well, heck, like, he blew right through that, you know, and so why am I in here, like, so worried about it? When in those situations, if your kid was in a situation you're in, what would you be telling them? You know, chill, relax. You know, you got this. Don't worry about other people. Like, if this is in your heart and you got to be doing, you know, something moral, right? Then, you know, if you have something in your heart, you know, it all goes, the only person that you're gonna, you know, gives you the hurdles is yourself, you know, and it's all make believe. All that stuff in your head is all make believe.
It is, man. I love it, man. Well, so what I guess what would your biggest challenge be? Maybe you shared it earlier on in the podcast of the Unwind Cigars. If we're going back to that, out of the marketing, the branding, the creating the website, you know, what was the toughest?
I mean, the website was, you know, I kind of set the website aside from everything else, because that was just part of, like, learning it, you know. Other than that, you know, the biggest hurdle was getting past some of the non-tobacco friendly rules and regulations. To give you a short run through our first 3 weeks, or first 5 weeks, we opened on Labor Day, a Monday. We sold a handful of cigars. Tuesday, we got shut down by our payment processor, the first one. You know, and, you know, it was a platform that we applied for approval for. They gave us approval. You know, we got shut down, got lined up with another one, and shut down, you know, like I said, shortly before that event. And the process of getting that underway, and, oh my gosh, like, we just started and now we're failing. You know, we sold a little bit and now we can't even sell, you know, and we went through approval processes through multiple different, you know, high risk transaction processors for online transactions, because there's age related things that are You have to be a certain age to buy cigars. So
Yeah.
we had all that stuff built into the website to verify it, and then PayPal finally picked up slack for us, and PayPal's been fantastic for us. And that's our primary processor. We have an on-site processor that they gave us. So that was a hurdle. And then one of our cigars, 2 or 3 weeks after PayPal approved us, PayPal shut us down. Because one of the cigars that we sell is called La Aroma de Cuba, and you're not allowed to sell anything in the United States from Cuba. So that happened at like 11:30 on a Friday night, and we got the notification. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, here we go again. I'm like, this is just not. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. If this is how it's going to be, like,
it's discouraging.
If this is how it's going to be forever, then I don't want to do it. And then we got, all the paperwork submitted and proved that it wasn't from Cuba. Then they opened us back up, and it's been pretty smooth since then. The hardest thing is making sure we keep up with the inventory. We have things, we're checking on our cigars and our humidor here at the house just to make sure things are, at the right humidity level, that, nothing's cracking, nothing's breaking, nothing's, we're remembering to put the distilled water in the thing. And, my wife set out all checkpoints and everything for us. And, God bless her, through most of the week, she does all that work. And she does the packaging too. She kind of put together the packaging thing and getting the bags and getting all that stuff. So she has some marketing background. So a lot of that stuff falls on her. So
cool.
I mean, the hurdles, I think we've hit every hurdle that we could, and then the tax issue for cigars and all that stuff. We had, a hiccup with that. And, but now I think we're pretty, I think we're beyond the hurdles. I think we're now in the fun growth stage. And, but I know now it's very, very, very hard to start a tobacco company. And you will be set up with hurdles that will make you want to stop. And, we fortunately, we don't have an end game, an end goal, it's just we're going to be fluid as we grow. So I don't know if that answered. I mean, those were the hardest things. I mean, that's just.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And hopefully it's encouraging to others out there. It's like, okay, hey, if you do want to if you want to open a cigar or tobacco business, it can be done, because Chad, you're a good dude, but again, you're not the anything super duper special, right? But you have a heart and like passion, and and drive. Like I think you mentioned way earlier in the broadcast, like the biggest thing is just taking that first step, man. Just getting started, right? And when those issues pop up, dude, water off the duck's back. Just let them ride off, baby. And
I lost your mic.
Oh, I can still hear you. Let's see. Last I was at was water off a duck's back. I don't know if anybody got that. But guys, if anybody's out there looking to start a tobacco business, it can be done. Chad Zahm did it. Unwind Cigars. Chad, can you hear me now, bro?
I put one of my earbuds in. I can hear you. Do you have that reverb in your ear? Are you okay with this?
It's all right. And I feel like we can. Is there anything you wanted to say? We can probably get ready to wrap this thing up. You said you have some events coming up in the spring and summer. Anything on the calendar for sure?
Not specifically yet. We're still at some of the events that we did. There was other local breweries that approached us, so we are on their list to call, and we are on our list to. They are on our list to call and start setting some stuff up. Because a lot of those, it's going to be weather dependent. March, April, those months can be a little kind of weird, kind of funky weather-wise. So we don't want people coming out and freezing their bums off. I'm sitting here with 2 heaters in my garage.
Gnarly. And they can find you at on Facebook. Is that where most of your social media post is happening?
Well, I primarily post through Instagram, and it just tags the Facebook tag like right through there. So those two suites kind of work together. But most of the stuff that we post is on either Instagram or Facebook. We don't do a lot of updates on the website and stuff. If we have special promotions and stuff,
Okay.
catch the online things. We have some rare cigars that I have kind of sitting here that I'll probably look at throwing on in the next week or two. Some cigars that are very, very hard to get and very hard to find. So, I'll probably be blasting on a post here or there with that kind of stuff on there, just to see if there's interest for that kind of stuff. So,
Awesome. What is it? What's the handle on IG? Is it at Unwind Cigars?
I believe so. Again, some of those terms and those things and stuff, I can't remember if it's hashtag or at.
Oh, it would be at. It would be at on IG.
Yeah.
And then what is your website again, if you want to say that?
Yeah, it's www.unwind-cigars.com. That's what it is right now. That may change, but that's the primary website now that we have for that. And you can shop through all the stock we have listed on there, 4-packs, 10-packs. That's primarily what we're doing there. We might be opening up to more individual cigar sales, but we wanted to build a custom like mix pack. That's generally how people buy cigars. So, and shipping and everything's calculated on there. Most of the time, if you're in Pennsylvania or the tri-state area, we can get your cigars to you in a day or two. I've increased the humidity level in our humidor so the cold doesn't suck all the moisture out of them. So we want to get them to you as quick as possible. And it's U.S. Postal Service is who we're using. They've been fantastic. I know they get a lot of heat from what's happening and their delays and stuff like that. We haven't run into any issues. So, and we ship all across the United States. So there's no borders, no, exclusions from any of that. We just can't ship overseas. That's the only thing we can't ship right now. And that's not really in my wheelhouse right now. So.
Well, hey, that's something you want to learn to tackle. You can get through that too. I guarantee it. You've taught yourself quite a bit. And again, man, like I said, I just wanted to commend you on the branding and the marketing. I love the idea, of the top 5 cigars. And just, I love the whole journey and process that you and your wife are on, and moving your brand forward. It's an awesome thing, man. And I would, if you haven't learned it yet, I would not, if there's not a ton of engagement or whatever it is, I would not take it personally, man. For me, I see your posts and I respect them, dude. I'm like, yo, I'm over here cheering you on, dog. Like, yo, let's go, baby. You keep going, man. You're getting better. Things are looking better. And yeah, I like the energy, man. I love the passion. I love that it's something that you love, man. And I think people can see that in your branding. And hopefully that helps, I think that's going to go a long way in helping connect you and your brand with others and help bring, that relaxing and peaceful and cherished moments into the people's lives that you're trying to serve, man.
Awesome.
So,
and I appreciate those kind words, and I appreciate you having me on here. And it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I'm a little cold, but that's just kind of where I'm at.
oh, it's worth it, bro. I see them. Yo, them cigars keeping you warm, dude. Act like you're cold. Come on now. I know that. I know them cigars are keeping you toasty, and the propane heaters that we talked about before the broadcast. Yeah. So you fine. But yo, Chad, Thank you so much for coming on, bro. You absolutely rock. This has been a ton of fun. Again, everybody, Unwind Cigars. Find them on Instagram at Unwind Cigars. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Unwind Cigars or at their website, www.unwind-cigars.com. Because, baby, this guy, he is making everybody's Christmas, New Year. He'll send out, we got Valentine's Day's coming up. So he'll probably have some sick cigars for Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, the whole nine, baby. He's stocking them up, and they got a checklist, and they're keeping everything humid or at the right temperature. Everything's delicious. Chad, thank you so much, bro. And hopefully I see you out there if my knucklehead butt does a little bit more soccer coaching next season in the spring.
All right, man. I appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you.
Dude, thanks so much for coming on. I will catch you on the flip side. So, everybody, again, this was Tyler Transon with the Curiously Insane podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time, keep on keeping on.